You're listening to the Shit You Can't Make Up podcast, a conversation with friends, hosted by Marisol Sanchez. You are listening to the Shit You Can't Make Up podcast, a conversation with friends, hosted by Marisol Sanchez.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. I hope you recognize that very special voice. That is my dear, dear friend, Miss Beth Lennon. Hello.
Hey, Marisol. How are you doing?
I am doing really well.
Good. We're sitting here in the palatial offices of the Myrtle Grove Library.
I know, right?
Our new podcast office.
I can't do it at home with the dogs.
I know.
It's just no point.
My dogs are just as bad, and my bird sings
and you got the birds
the whole entire time in the background, which I don't think really it bothers people, but I think the dogs barking.
I think it bothers
distracting to us.
Yeah, it bothers engineers more than anything. Like engineers are weird about
background noise.
I'm not that committed. Like I love the podcast. Thank you all for listening, but I'm not that committed to like getting like a soundboard and but I am committed enough to go to the local library and pay $5 to use their room.
Well, and if your longtime listeners, I'm sure will notice an incredible change from podcast number 1 to this podcast in quality. Yeah,
I've heard that many times
as
now.
I look at you and your headphones.
I know, I'm so professional now.
You are so professional.
So I'm back from Paris.
Yay!
And I needed you to come on the podcast to talk to me.
City of Light, right? City of Light.
Yes. Right?
Love.
No lights.
Yeah, City of Light. Yeah.
City of Lights. I love Paris.
Oh, gosh. I love Paris, too. We went, my husband and I went about a year ago and stayed for 8 days. And basically spent the whole entire time just in Paris. And one day we went to Versailles, which was amazing. I'm sure you'll... But, like... We didn't get to all the stuff on our list. Everybody got their one thing that was at the top of their list, but we didn't get to the whole list, which is crazy, being there 8 days.
Yeah. It's I didn't do too many touristy things. This is my third trip, or at least third trip to France, second trip to Paris, and I did some touristy stuff, but it was. It was an amazing trip. It was like, I get annoyed when people compare my trips to like Eat, Pray, Love. Like when I went to India, everyone's like, oh, this is like your Eat, Pray, Love. And
which one is this? This is the Eat?
This would totally be Eat, because that's basically what I, like with Abandon.
Yeah.
It's just like, complete
this is the Eat part. You already had the Pray part.
Yeah. No, it's funny is I've been going to this doctor for just some nutritional stuff before I left, and they put me in an extremely strict diet to reintroduce stuff to figure out some stuff that's going on with me, and like right before I was leaving, I texted him and I was like, yeah, screw it, we'll start over when I get back.
We'll eat your blueberry cupcake before you start on it again, because it's super yummy from Coastal Cupcakes.
I will totally eat that. I haven't started yet. I'll detox next week. I'm just getting over jet lag right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's tough. So what ended you up in Paris? Well,
it was supposed to be a roommate. Well, first of all, the way it all kind of transpired was I initially thought I was going to work, not in Paris, to go to Mexico. I work in the call center industry, and shockingly, there's a lot of call centers in Mexico.
Right.
But for reasons not very important, that got pushed back. So I had already made arrangements for the kids. They were going to be with their dad. And I had that week. And then someone from my past, a man, we shall say, who's, you kind of know a little bit of the story. He's basically been trying to get me to go to Paris with him for about 2 years. He was the person I went to Paris with the first time.
And how old were you then?
It was 1998. France had just won the World Cup. And we went around my birthday around this period of time, which is Bastille Day, which is a huge...
Right.
So it was an amazing trip. Like, we both fell in love with Paris.
And what birthday was it?
Well, that math, I'm not able to do.
It was 1998, but you don't know how old you were?
Can you figure that out for me, please?
Hilarious.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to pretend to be embarrassed. Someone
These
else
are
do
the
the
things
math.
that I just can't understand, Marisol.
You do the math.
Well,
I'm
wait,
44.
all right.
I'm going to be 44 in 2017.
So it was about 20 years ago.
Yes.
So you were about 24. Let's just do, like,
Round it
great
up.
estimation.
Round it down. Remember, I freeze with math.
Right, early 20s-ish, yeah.
All right, Beth knows this, and most of my friends know this, but when it comes to math, I literally have brain freeze. I just freeze. So
Yeah.
it's not a sign of my intelligence, just an issue I have. So yeah, it was around 24. It was a beautiful trip, and it was an amazing trip, and it was amazing to him too.
Right.
It held special meaning for him as well. So for about 2 years, he's been trying to. He doesn't live here locally. We reconnected after my divorce, and he'd been trying to get me to go
To
and
recreate that
he's
special trip.
for Christmas this year. He sent me this beautiful, beautiful painting of the Eiffel Tower, not like a copy, like a legit,
A real painting.
like, oh gosh, I have to get this framed kind of painting, and things like that. Mala beads over the years. He's just was really set on us recreating that trip. And so he had sent me an email with really cheap flights, excuse me, to Paris, and I said, fuck it, let's do it.
Let's go. All right.
So I booked the trip, and about 2 weeks prior to us going, that just fell through.
Yeah.
Which I think happened organically and was meant to
Right.
happen.
Because it would not have been the same magic trip that you had when you were 24-ish.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been the same. It might have been better. It could have been worse.
He's
it
the
wouldn't have
person
been the
I dated
same.
right before I left him for my ex-husband.
Right.
So I was,
He was the one you were dating before you met your husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, again, there's no point going back and regretting choices you make. And I have
Right.
3 beautiful children who I love, and I love everything about my life. And it just I think it would have just felt inauthentic. And, like we were trying to push something that just wasn't,
Right, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how it would have been because it didn't matter because
It didn't happen.
it didn't happen. So I kind of freaked out. I was trying to get someone else to come with me a little bit. And then I thought about canceling. The ticket was non-refundable.
Right.
So that was,
So you're just going to lose your money if you canceled.
yeah. And then I hadn't, and you'd be very proud of me, I had not done a budget for anything other than the ticket and minor expenses because we were going together and he was getting the hotel room. So I looked at it and I was like, all right, if I can find something nice and safe for X number of dollars, I'll think about it. So I went on Airbnb, and I found this amazing, amazing apartment right across the street from this park. It's kind of considered the what's that park in New
Central
York City?
Park?
Yeah, like the Central
Okay.
Park of Paris.
Okay.
Just an amazing park. I was on the top floor.
Do you remember what it was called?
I could look it up, but I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. No, it's
No.
Boots. And it's Buttees
Okay.
is
All right.
the first name. $200. So it was $200 for a week.
Wow.
I was like, all right,
That's incredible.
I was like, you're worth it. Click it, take it. Note to self, it was $200 because there was no shower.
That was buried way down in the fine
I
print.
don't even think it was in the fine print. There was no shower. The bathroom was outside the apartment, which is funny because I'll tell you a story about that in a bit. But it wasn't in the apartment, and there was no shower. I was resourceful. I was like, okay, well, I have to take a shower. So I signed up. I got a few day passes at a yoga studio, hot yoga studio. Did yoga.
Took a
Took
shower.
Life was grand, so all was good. And so I went by myself. And, I've been writing a lot, and I actually wrote 3 blog posts from Paris.
Great. It was your muse
I
inspiring.
don't know. The flow was there. It was
Yeah.
there. But But the way it all kind of happened, and this is going to sound really cheesy, and I know, and I apologize, but I swear to God, I feel like I was meant to be there by myself. Like, I was meant to date myself. I was meant to, you know, you and I talked off mic a couple weeks ago where I'm like, you know, I'm ready. I'm ready to date. Like, I'm not fucking around. I'm ready. I know I have not been ready prior to this. So that happened where I wasn't going on this trip with him, and then I go by myself, and it was like, I think I was meant to do, you can't really love other people until you love yourself.
Right.
And if you've been a listener of this podcast or read the blog, you know that is an issue.
Something you're working on.
That I've been working on for a long time, but there it just kind of came together. It just was like, I did what I wanted. I didn't feel like I needed to do anything other than what I wanted to do. I ate what I wanted to eat. I woke up when I wanted to eat. I wrote a lot. I traveled. I saw what I wanted to see, and it was awesome.
Right.
The second day, there's a little 2 cafes actually right by the apartment that I visited regularly, and one of the waiters there actually surprised me with flowers my second day.
Oh, that's nice.
It was sweet. I didn't know who it was. He had walked me one night, to my apartment, but he was super young. It wasn't romantic. I mean, he was like closer to my son's age than
right.
I can't even my mind can't even wrap myself around that I was romantic in any way. But I was writing in his cafe, and I was writing actually about my mother, and I got emotional, and not in a sad way, and just like emotional way. And so he came, and we tried to communicate that I was okay, but I was just writing.
Yeah.
And so he gave me flowers, and that was just like,
aww.
Yeah, it was sweet. And then as some of you, if you follow me on Snapchat, which you don't have to because I even hate the fact that I just said that phrase out of my mouth, know that I locked myself out of my apartment. Did you see that?
I saw that, I think, on some other social media. Maybe Instagram. I don't know. That somebody wrote it or something.
So another friend of mine told the story on Facebook, but I was in a towel, left my apartment to go to the bathroom.
The bathroom is outside of the apartment.
To freshen up, to go out to dinner, and the wind hit the door, and I was locked out for about 2 hours. Luckily, that was right.
2 hours?
2 hours. And
that's a long time.
It is a long time. I was out for 2 hours. The Airbnb guy came within an hour, but it took an hour to get in. And it was so funny. He was trying to knock it open with his leg, and he couldn't. And it's one of those old-fashioned keys, really old.
It's like skeleton key kind of thing.
So, and I'm standing, we're both ignoring the fact that I'm in a towel. And I was FaceTiming with people. I was talking to my friends. Rob Kardashian and Black China were having a meltdown on Instagram. Which
so he was keeping you entertained?
Totally kept me entertained. So that happened. And I did some touristy things and everything. But the bottom line was, more than once I felt like a couple of things. I felt like I really have forgiven my mom.
Right.
That all that childhood trauma and everything. She did the best she could.
Right.
And if she hadn't done what she had done, I wouldn't be who I am. And I like myself, which is new for me to say. I talk about gratitude all the time, and I write about gratitude, but I literally feel like it all just kind of clicked. For me.
In Paris.
Paris.
Yeah, and I think that whole trajectory with your mom has been a long time. It's not like, wow, it just happened last week.
Up here, I haven't told you that.
No, you're moving. That's huge. That is really putting the past behind you.
That is really putting the past. I'm moving her up here I saw her. I flew out of Miami, so I visited her, and it was a beautiful moment because I saw the situation she was in, and when you have a parent with dementia, Alzheimer's, whatnot, in a nursing home, I think it's you have to have someone constantly there.
They have to have an advocate of some kind that's like looking out for them.
And my siblings, tried the best they could, but they have full-time jobs, and they, went in the evening. So basically I showed up and I was like, wait, this stuff I bought her, it was kind of gone, and I just got very suspicious. And my gut was...
It just didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right.
Wow, that's a big step. So when is she coming up?
As soon as I can get her. I'm in the process of...
Finding a place for her here.
Finding a place and getting all that transferred. My brother's going to transfer power of attorney and all that. And I spoke to them. But the decision wasn't that it was late. Like, I just took it. It was right. Like, it felt right in my soul. It felt like closure, if that makes any sense. Like, of course my mom has to come live with me, and I'm going to take care of her and her AG, which, again, if you're just tuning into this podcast now, you're like, what the fuck? You're decent.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I think that is, like, for everybody. I mean, some people, their mom relationships are worse and better, but, like, I think everybody somewhere down the line realizes they were just doing the best they could at the time.
Yeah.
And I hope that, like, our children give us the same grace later on. We're just doing the best we can.
I always kind of tell my kids, like, I don't really care because I already know that they got it better than I did. So it's like, I know I'm screwing up. I screw up on the daily. But I don't beat you, so...
So I know. So I was thinking, actually, my favorite, like, I don't even know the exact quote, but my favorite mom quote is like, raising children is not a souffle, it's a stew. Like, one mistake with a souffle and it's ruined, but a stew is, you add and you take out, and then I think a couple of weeks ago I was seriously thinking that I had screwed up the stew. I'm like, this stew sucks. And not from them, for me. Like, not that they suck. It's just like I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing even this late in it. So,
motherhood, or I should probably say parenting, no book. I don't care how many books there are out there. No book prepares you for it. And we're all fallible, right?
Yeah,
we're fallible. So we're going to inherently fuck them up. Like, not totally, not completely, but we're going to make mistakes because no one's perfect. And it's, I think the best you can do is love them.
Right.
And, if it wasn't for my mother being an awful mother, and I've forgiven her and everything. I'm not trying to be ugly, but she was horrific.
Right. And it's changed how you feel as a mother yourself. Like,
it just all makes,
like, what's the word? You're, determined not to repeat the same patterns.
Yeah. My brother recently on Facebook, there was this game going around where you post it, now they have like a GIF that you can put a GIF on the Facebook feed. So he's like, put a GIF up to tell me about our relationship or something related to us. And the GIF I put up was from that movie. What's that movie called? Mommy Dearest, where she's like, no more wire hangers.
I remember reading that book.
And he laughed, and that's something siblings understand when you have that history and that past. And I was actually talking to my aunt, her sister, recently in this trip to Miami, and she told me the story I never knew about my mom. And I love stories about my mom, which was that her first wedding, she was married 3 times. Her first one was like the town's biggest wedding, and the event. It was an event, and it was the inauguration of this big hall, and they gave it to her for free because it was the inauguration. And my aunt was saying how she had all these bridesmaids, and they were wearing these. And mind you, this is Honduras. Yeah. My family's dirt ass poor,
right?
But all the bridesmaids had big hats, and it was just this huge event. And my cousin's like, well, weren't the sisters the bridesmaids? And she's like, I don't even know if we were invited. And I hadn't heard that story. And, she also told me the other story. My mom, a few times throughout my life had said that she wished she had aborted me when she had the chance.
Super sweet. Like on a Hallmark card somewhere.
that she had,
you know, laugh. I know.
But I didn't know. I never really thought it was true. I thought she was just being, you know, mean.
Yeah.
But my aunt was like, confirmed it. She's like, oh no, it's true. And I was the one that told your dad, and you know, stopped. And I'm like, Thea, I'm here because of you. So,
oh gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know what to. Yeah. But those are the things that you've had to work through, like, and many more. Right.
And you know, and it's not the worst story out there as far as mother issues, and it's most certainly not the best story, but it's the story I was given, and because of everything that happened, it's where I am now. And it's like now I'm just. I mean, I posted today, I think I posted on Facebook, I'm like, I might have a brain tumor. I don't know, because I'm so fucking happy, and I'm not used to it. I'm not drinking, I'm not on drugs, I'm not taking, I mean, it's like...
You're like, why am I feeling so good?
Like yesterday, you know, I'm sorry, by the way, I'm sorry, I gave public displays of affection.
Why are you sorry? That was so sweet.
But yesterday I just felt like what was happening was, let me... back up. Yesterday I felt the need to go through my hundreds of list of friends, which at halfway through I'm like, what the fuck? And you know I had to keep going because I didn't want to hurt people's feelings.
You didn't want to leave anybody out? Oh my, I know. Actually, I saw a few scroll through in my feed and I was like, I wonder like how long this took.
It took me hours.
And if she's drinking wine.
I got, are you suicidal? Are you drinking wine? Are you high? No.
Just like 13 reasons why.
What's going on? What happened, podcast listeners, is I was just so happy. I was just so happy yesterday. And
you had the Paris glow.
Yeah, I had the Paris
Afterglow, I guess.
Reunited with my children. And actually it was... You know, some shit started happening in politics, and I could see a trend, and I'm like, oh shit,
yeah,
things are gonna get ugly again. And I just wanted to tell people, you know, like, what would I tell someone if they were dying? Like, what would I if I was never gonna see them again? And so I started sending Facebook messages or posting Facebook messages with just kind thoughts, you know, and there were a lot. But it just felt so good. It just felt good to like let people know I love you. Thank you. Thank you for.
I thought it was really sweet.
You know,
I really did. And I'm just kidding about the wine because I know you, and so I know that was just what you were feeling in the moment.
It was like I was showered and just.
But you know, the thing is like you never know, like what that meant to somebody. Like just to get that message, because I've been trying to not be on Facebook quite as much. Like I'll go on at least every day, but not like just check it. And so, but I do get a notification on email if somebody tags me in a post or like puts something on my wall or something. And so I get an email. It's like Marisol Sanchez. So I can't remember what it said. I'm like, oh my gosh. Click.
What is she doing?
What's she doing? But it was so sweet. I was pleasantly surprised. You're very sweet. And like people, you never know what that might have meant to somebody, you know, that might be not having a great, as great a post-Paris glow as you are having. Yeah.
There were actually a handful that got back to me to tell me how much they needed that day for whatever reason.
Nice words are ever regretted. You shouldn't regret.
I wish we spent more time doing that
instead of the opposite.
You know, bitching and complaining. But I've just, you know, with my mom, and you know, I was telling you before we got on mic, yesterday was kind of a weird day because there's one person in my life who, you know, could still irritate me.
Likes to bring it down.
Likes to, you know. I wasn't even irritated. It was like I'm feeling so happy. I just feel, you know, bringing my mom. It's not like 5 years ago, I would be freaking the fuck out. I wouldn't be doing it, first of all. I wouldn't be bringing her back to North Carolina. But to bring her, it feels effortless. It feels like, oh, this is absolutely the right thing to do. And even the idea of like seeing her daily, I'm like, you know what? I could watch some telenovelas with her and bring it back to like when I was a kid. Like, it's easy.
Yeah, I might just bring it all full circle for you too. I hope.
I hope so. I think so because since the dementia's kicked in, she's very nice to me.
She doesn't remember who you are.
She doesn't remember who I am, but she doesn't hit me with the uppercut verbally anymore. And even if she does have those moments, they don't affect me like the person that irritates me. It doesn't get inside. It doesn't get inside.
The way it used to.
It doesn't get inside. And I don't know, I might have a brain tumor, but I authentically feel just happy with my life, like everything.
Well, so Paris suited you,
Paris
sure.
did something. Every time I've taken a trip, I do have this, like, a trip basically on my own, not a vacation.
Right.
A self-study of something. I'm air quoting as I'm talking. I come back, when I went to India, I came back more secure in my relationship with what I believe to be God and so on and so on. And this trip, I was like, you know what, I fucking have a great life. And, and writing, I never called myself a writer. I would dream of it secretly, maybe, wanting to be a writer. Now I'm like, yeah, you know what, I don't care if I never make a dime from it, but that's what
You're still a writer.
I'm a writer. And I know I am because I get the feedback. Thank you very much, by the way, for all the feedback. That makes me feel like, yeah, I'm
right. Well, you're writing and people are reading it. I don't even think people reading it disqualifies you from being a writer.
Yeah.
A writer is just someone who writes. They have to write. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's been that. It was just all good. It was all good, and it also cemented for me. I've never the whole time. That was the breakthrough. That was my breakthrough. I definitely forgave my mom. I think that was, like you said, it was already happening, but right before I went to Paris, I'm like, she's coming to live with me. All those issues are really just noise. They're not there. But the breakthrough I had was like, I really like myself, which I know sounds stupid. And again, if you're a first-time listener, you're like, what the fuck am I listening to? But if you're a long-time listener, to say those words and to mean them is just, and I couldn't make eye contact with people for my 20s and 30s. Just
I could look away.
Yeah, I didn't think I was worth shit. I just didn't, when your mother wound is as deep as mine was, when your mother basically, tells you, I wish I'd aborted you.
Yes.
You might have some issues about self-worth, and I've struggled with that for many years, and, I just kind of feel like I can check that one off the box. Like, I've done the work. I've done 5 years of therapy. I
That's
told
awesome.
You.
Yeah.
I've had 2 therapists go like, you know what, you don't need therapy.
You're graduated.
You're good. I love to hear all your stories, and they're a lot of fun. we don't need to pay you anymore.
Which is nice.
It is nice.
You have somebody actually tell you that.
Yeah.
Instead of, see you next week.
We'll continue. But the other, the thing that kind of, and I want your opinion on, the interesting thing was, when I was in Paris, I was like, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to, I don't say date. I know I've dated people, but
right.
You've never met someone I've gone out with. You're one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I
think I've met one of them once.
Like in passing.
Right, in passing. Well, I think one came to our 4th of July party.
Okay, yeah.
But that was it.
That was it.
And it was,
There's no, vetting of...
there's no let's meet for drinks or anything like that.
None of them, met my kids except, one in passing again as well. So maybe consciously I was saying, oh yeah, I'm dating, I'm doing the normal thing after a divorce. But subconsciously I was like, no, you're not ready. You're just, and true to form, I kept the people I fell for, the people I actually liked, were the same people of my past, which weren't necessarily kind. And I'm not insulting all of them. I'm just saying I tend to have a pattern of letting people be unkind to me. and then falling in love with them for
Then loving them even more.
Yeah.
The more unkind they are, the more they're fixable and
and I'm going to make them love me, and that's that's my mom issue. Like, my mom, your mother is who teaches you about love, and the love I was taught was that. And I mean, it's not does not take a degree in psychology to connect the dots. But this time when I was in Paris, I was like, I think I'm ready. Like, I really feel, not only would I not fall in love with that, I'll even tell you this much. I don't think I'll have sex with someone until I'm like really, I know, isn't that like, like I don't even, what? Yeah. Like, that's not I'm ready for a healthy relationship.
Right.
And,
that's good.
Yeah. And I'm ready. I'm excited. The idea to fall in love, like to be open to it, when you're not open to it and when you're open to it, it's two different sides of a coin. And it took me a long time to get to this point where I'm like, oh my God, like I can't wait.
Right.
To meet him. Where are you? I'm just kidding.
Maybe he's outside this library room right now, checking out a book.
God, I hope not. I look dreadful. I stink to high hell. No, but
it would be a meet cute.
Be a very short-lived dating. It's 92 degrees outside. Yeah, I hope not, because
we're laughing because Marisol just checked the timer to see how long we've been talking, and she didn't start it.
I didn't
but
start
that's
it.
okay.
It's okay.
Well, you always ask me like what I thought, and I always thought like you would go sort of through these relationships, or even see somebody for a while, and then you come and say, "I'm just not ready for a relationship, and I'm just not ready to date. I don't need to be in a relationship." And I always thought that wasn't true, that like you just picked the wrong people to be in relationships with. But I think now, after spending a lot of time with you, that's sort of the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
Is that you're picking people, and this is all like therapy couch kind of stuff, but like you're picking the wrong people because you don't think you're ready for a relationship. You're not ready for a relationship.
I think I was picking the wrong, because I was genuinely attracted to all these guys.
Yeah.
I think I was picking them because, I'm attracted
to red flags.
To red flags.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah. Or what? I almost want to say I was attracted, because even now, I have a lot more male friends, and not so much anymore. Like, now they have their shit, and I'm like, you gotta...
Well, I think maybe you are attracted to red flags, but, like, it seems like over your course since you've been divorced is that, like, you recognize those red flags and get them out of your life faster.
Yes.
Instead of letting the red flag linger and linger and linger and do all their red flag waving crap. Yes. And... for a long time, and then it just gets shorter and shorter before you sort of recognize the red flag and go.
And I mean, when I say I don't think I was ready to date, I do feel like I authentically wasn't ready to date, in the sense that, when the divorce happened, it was such a shit show of destruction in my life and in my family and in my marriage, that and I've said this many times, I was like, I'm going to rebuild, and if I'm going to rebuild, I'm going to, $6 million woman this shit. And I think the podcast, I think the blog, like, you've known me so long, so I would never have done this 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I would never have blogged. I would never have Snapchatted me in a towel stuck outside, My birthday is coming up. My MO for my birthday is a trigger. A month before my birthday, I'm usually triggered knowing that my birthday's coming up. And not because of age, not because I'm getting older, but because of my childhood shit. Don't like attention.
Right.
I never felt worthy of being celebrated.
Right. Of being the center of attention on your birthday.
On my birthday. And I'm like, yay, it's coming. I'm like, I can't wait to log on to Facebook and see everyone tell me happy birthday. And I'm not consumed with, I don't know, those ghosts or those. I wish I could articulate how good I feel, but I just feel like this huge weight's been lifted off of me. Like, I'm not saying that I'm happy 100% of the time. I don't know anyone that is. I definitely feel like I'm grateful 96% of the time, like anything. And even an asshole text from someone or email, I can find something to be grateful for about the situation. Like, even, if someone posts something, even, when I rarely do, but when I log on and look at stuff about politics, I can be grateful.
Take it all.
I can take it in and, it doesn't stick to me anymore. So I don't know. Yay me.
Yay you. That's awesome.
Or I may have a brain tumor.
Stay tuned.
That would be fucking hilarious, wouldn't it?
It would not. It would not be hilarious at all.
Okay, it would be hilarious, but it would be a story.
So why don't you close with your favorite thing in Paris?
My favorite thing in Paris. Well, besides the food, oh my god.
Well, that could be your favorite.
It's probably the food, and you know me. I'm not a huge wine drinker, but for some reason the wine tastes better there.
The wine. Well, you know why the wine tastes better? Because they don't put preservatives in it, and we have to have preservatives in our wine. Damn you, FDA, and but they don't have preservatives in their wine, so that's why it tastes better, and also why you don't get hangovers.
I loved it. I drank, and again, I'm not a huge wine drinker, and I was drinking rosé and reds all day long.
Yeah, the food is really.
The food was amazing. The weather was amazing. It was like 76, 82. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So beautiful. It was so beautiful. I think my favorite moment, something was happening here. I can't remember what. Our president tweeted something, or
that could be any day.
Yeah, I don't know. He did something, and someone in a cafe was like, when they realized I was American, like, you're American? I was like, yeah. And it's like, your president has a small penis, or suffers from having a small penis, or something like that. And I was like, I love the French. But yeah, I had a good time, and I hope anyone listening who ever has issues, any childhood issues, I hope they can think about working them way through it, because it does feel good on the other side.
Yeah. Awesome.
So there you go, people. That's my Paris trip. Thanks, guys, for listening. Bye.
Parlez-vous français? No? That's okay. Just be sure to subscribe to this podcast. And then check out Marisol's blog at shityoucan'tmakeup.com, or find her on Instagram at Marisol's Podcast, and, of course, on Facebook. I'm Sean, the producer, and you can hear me on my podcast, Dadson, Dadson, funny and candid conversations between a father and a son about something. We'll see you next time.